goddamn Jets. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're here on the Sports Talk Nation. As we all know, the Jets fans' worst nightmare has now been realized as Mike White is not cleared to start this weekend against the Detroit Lions. And guess who's back in town? Zach Wilson is back under center for the Jets this Sunday against the Detroit Lions in what is going to be a game that now has so many storylines, it's going to be ridiculous. And it's ironic. Before I go into this, I had recorded a segment with Mr. Rick Laughlin about the Jets situation, coming off the game they had the other day against Buffalo, going into this game against Detroit. And we talked about, ironically, the possibility of what if Mike White can't play in this game or comes out of the game. Take a listen to this. They just, put a lot of pressure on Mike White. And if to be fair, you can even say that LaFleur even put Zach Wilson in a bad spot as well, even though I don't want to make an excuse for Wilson's poor play because it's been inexcusable from that matter. But you really have to have concerns about the way the Jets have called plays offensively throughout the course of the year. They'll be raring to go. My concern is, how this Jet offensive line holds up against their pass rush, how Mike White handles that pass rush. One hit, he could be out of the game. We could be looking at Zach Wilson coming in. I know you said you're going to be at the game. Can you imagine? I mean, God forbid, if Mike White should leave the game and Zach Wilson comes in, I can only imagine the cascade of boos that are going to come raining down onto the field if number 2 comes onto the field at any point in this game.
I think the Jets are in for a rude awakening. If they think that the Lions are just going to roll over and basically hand them a win, they got another thing coming because the Lions are arguably one of the hottest teams in the entire NFL, 5-1 over the last 6 games. They've had a resurgence. Now you have the New York Giants kind of looking over their shoulder as far as the Lions being in the mix for a potential playoff spot. So, they're playing for not just pride, which they're normally playing for at this point of the season. They're playing for serious January football. And you talked about Dan Campbell, guy's an absolute character. I watched and loved every second of Hard Knocks, biting off kneecaps, all the crazy stuff that he would do in his antics. But he's instilled a lot of toughness in this team. I mean, they have a rookie in Aiden Hutchinson that looks like the second coming of J.J. Watt, and that's probably even not giving him a high enough praise. He is a one-man wrecking crew, and I think that this Jets offensive front, they had all they could handle and more from the Buffalo Bills. This Lions front seven is as physical. They may not have the big blue chip, high profile talent, but they are a physical bunch, and they're going to give the Jets all they can handle. So, basically Mike LaFleur, if he goes and takes that template from what he did up in Orchard Park and thinks he's going to bring it back home at MetLife Stadium, they're going to have success. He's got another thing coming because this Lions defense is no joke. For me, what I would like to see is the offensive game plan shift more towards a conservative 50-50 pass to run ratio.
So there you go. So who knew that we would both be Nostradamus for that matter in regards to this, as Robert Saleh comes out, says that White has not been cleared, that Zach Wilson will indeed get the start. And this is now a second time as far as the Jets getting an injury, as far as we know, wrong. I remember earlier in the year with Mekhi Becton where the Jets came out and said, it's going to be day-to-day with a knee injury, and then it turned into a season-loss injury for Mekhi Becton. Here we go again. The Jets initially thought, well, he's feeling better. So, he got cleared to return with the team as far as Mike White was concerned, cleared to return with the team from Buffalo to New Jersey. The assumption being, and that he was going to prepare to start this week and play this week against the Detroit Lions. Then we started to see the stories that Zach Wilson's been elevated to the backup. Well, it made sense because Joe Flacco didn't play very well when he did have to come in for Mike White in the game against Buffalo. And now here we are with Zach Wilson getting another chance, getting another big chance to start for this football team and prove the doubters wrong. So what turned into what was going to be Mike White's golden opportunity. And if you read the tweets from Brian Costello of the New York Post, that Mike White had spoken to about 10 different doctors trying to find anybody that would clear him. And that apparently it's now a fracture in the ribs. So that's what Mike White is going through right now. That's why he's not going to play in this game, obviously. Mike White was cleared to return to the game on Sunday in Buffalo after he had x-rays in the stadium. He had further, more precise testing this week that showed further injury, and that led to him not being cleared for contact this week. So that's why the Jets are going to go with Zach Wilson. And you would have to imagine that Wilson's going to play in the Jacksonville game that follows this one on Thursday night, probably for the rest of the season. It's ironic. It's sad. It's I don't want to use same old Jets, but it just feels like same old Jets all over again. The assumption being that it felt like the Jets were going to roll with Mike White for the duration of this season to be their quarterback. He had played well. He wasn't the reason why they had lost the last 2 games. He put them in position to win, especially the Minnesota game. Put them in position to win. It was just a matter of Braxton Berrios making a catch in the end zone. And here we are with Zach Wilson, who struggled so mightily, got benched. When asked by reporters after that Patriots game whether he had felt he took responsibility for not playing well and not helping the defense out, who only gave up 3 points to the Patriots, his answer was emphatically no, that he felt he didn't let the team down. And that, of course, the idea, the perception that he may have lost the locker room, all these problems that have cascaded and built up against Zach Wilson, the momentum that was building up to Mike White, and now here we are, a very twisted sense of irony, is that now Zach Wilson gets to come back and will get a chance to start here this week against Detroit. This is his opportunity. This is Zach Wilson's opportunity to prove a lot of the doubters wrong. It's an opportunity to prove me wrong, prove you wrong, prove a lot of people wrong. That he is indeed, that there is a reason why he is the number 2 pick in the draft from just 2 years ago, that he is not the next Ryan Leaf or Jamarcus Russell, that he has learned something from this benching and is going to improve. How much he has learned in the 3 weeks since he's improved is going to be a big question. It's going to be a tough game. It was going to be a tough game anyway, because Detroit's been playing so well. Yeah, their defense is not that great. It's kind of, they're right now 31st in total defense for that matter for this year. Pass defense, Detroit is right now ranked 30th in pass defense so far this year. They give up about 27 points per game. This is a team that Zach Wilson's going to tee off. If Zach Wilson is going to have a rebound performance and show the Jets and show Jet fans that he is indeed can be the guy again, this is a great opportunity for him. Now, it's a team that's going to be very tough, and it's a Detroit Lions team that's been playing very good football over the last month now. I mean, the Lions have now won, they've won 2 in a row. They've won 5 of their last 6. And were not for that Buffalo game on Thanksgiving, they probably would be on a 6-game winning streak right now. Lost like 4 games this year by 4 points or less. Think about that. They could easily be 10-3, maybe 11-2. They're a really good football team. Jared Goff is playing well right now, so this is going to be a very stiff test for the Jets. Very stiff. But it's an opportunity, nonetheless, for Zach Wilson to really prove himself in this game. He's got to be accurate. He can't run around the pocket like a man with his head on fire. I know that he likes to run around, make the off-platform throws, make the unusual happen, but he's got to find a way to get rid of the happy feet, stand in the pocket a little bit more, and deliver strikes, because he does have a good arm. We all know he does. He has a rocket for an arm, but he's got to show it. And he can't airmail throws. He can't overthrow his receivers as he did in those Patriot starts. And the Jets as a team, they got to pick it up. Defense has got to be absolutely incredible this week against the Detroit Lions. The Jets play calling going to have to be more conservative this week. Last couple weeks, 57 passes 2 weeks ago against the Vikings, 47 passes last week against the Buffalo Bills. Can't do that with Zach Wilson under center. The Jets are going to have to run the football. They have to pound the rock. You have to have a big game from Bam Knight. You have to have a big day for Michael Carter. Those guys have to pick it up for Zach Wilson if the Jets are going to have a chance to win. And again, Zach's got to hit the precise throws. He's got to hit the precise throws, get Garrett Wilson involved, get Elijah Moore involved. That's been a guy he's had a hard time connecting with this year. And then the Jets will have a chance on Sunday. But for the Jet fan, they're going to be very nervous now because the playoff scenarios are going to be very, very tricky. The Jets are in a situation with the Chargers, the Patriots, the Dolphins, where, to be very fair and honest with you, only 2 of those teams are going to make it. Dolphins right now are in the teeth of their toughest part of their schedule. They go to Buffalo. You have to imagine the Dolphins are going to lose. The Chargers, of course, have a very winnable schedule here the rest of the way. The Patriots and Dolphins have to play one another. The Patriots, I think, still have to play Buffalo as well at the end of the year. So it's going to get tight. It's going to get very, very tight. And for the Jets, who have this tricky final stretch here against a good Lions team, against the Jaguars team, and Trevor Lawrence, where he is now playing very good football now. Seattle, and I know Seattle's not good. Seattle's not good, but again, the Jets have not won in that building in Quest Field since it's opened, and they've always had struggles up there and late in the season whenever they go up there. And then you have Miami in Week 18, what could be a game that will determine who gets that final spot in the playoffs. So, unless Mike White's injury improves, his rib injury improves over the next few weeks, and the Jets want to go back to him, it's going to be the Zach Wilson show, most likely, for the rest of the way. We'll see how it plays out. But for Wilson, this is his shot. This is his shot, as I said, to prove everybody wrong and show why he could be the number 2 pick in the NFL draft, why he was the number 2 pick in the NFL draft. We'll see what happens, folks. Like and subscribe. We'll talk to you next time.